Good evening and welcome to the Georgia Game Developers Association Neighborhood Spotlight. I'm your host, Bob Carter, and with me...
Hi, I'm Andrew Greenberg, and thank you for staying tuned during our lip reading portion of the evening.
First and foremost, we need to thank our Patreons. Thank you very much, Stephen Coffey, Burton Posey, Lee Friedman, James Simpson, Trey Carpenter, and Joe Cassavaugh. To become... youtube.com/Georgia Game Devs. Also, be sure to register for the Georgia locations of the upcoming Georgia Game Jam ASAP.
Already did that one.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Now we got the best in Georgia stuff going on.
Yes. All right. So, without further ado, as tonight is the ongoing State of the Union of the United States, it is also the State of the Union here for the Georgia Game Developers Association. So, in order to give the actual State of the Union of the GGDA, who better than the president of the GGDA, the executive director of... who is not just the executive director and president, but he's been executive director since 2012. He's been a game designer since 1990. Everything from Vampire to obviously the latest incarnation of Fading Suns, the Noble Armada PC game. He's actually about to launch that on Kickstarter, so that's perfect for this evening's conversation. You can walk us through that. We're also going to discuss the history of Fading Suns, the entire universe, by the way. Amazing history and legacy and so much depth. It's got its own, I think it's got its own Bible. I think it's ready for a movie. It's ready for the ongoing book series. So we're going to have questions from you, and in addition to that, we're going to talk about game development as well as a few other things. Now, Mr. Greenberg here, you have been making games. You've been developing not just Fading Suns, but you've also worked on Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Dracula Unleashed, Emperor of the Fading Suns, Warhammer 40K, Final Liberation, Merchant Prince 2, Mall Tycoon, Dungeon Crawlers, Dungeon Lords, The Virtual World of Kaniva, Railroad Tycoon Mobile, and the Global Agenda MMO. Absolutely amazing.
Hi-Res Studios, right here, John. They just had another voice actor on that one. It have sold many times more.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Also a fellow with the Mythic Imagination Institute. We need to talk more about that.
Say that three times fast.
Yes. You are, in addition, the organizer of Siege, the Southeast Interactive Entertainment and Games Expo. In addition, and most, I should say, organized, you serve on the Georgia Film, Music, and Digital Entertainment Commission, as well as in DeKalb County.
That's right.
Excellent.
Right.
So
I try and find things to stay busy with. If you got any idea, I'm just twiddling my thumbs all the time.
And I believe even a father of a small toddler.
Even a father of a small super toddler.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, Andrew, talk to us about the State of the Union for the GGDA in 2018.
I feel I should get my best presidential on. My fellow game devs, I am not a troll. But yes, I am. No, I'm not. So, yeah, thanks, Bob. Yeah, I try my best. I won't flip the table or anything. That would not be presidential. But other than that, yeah, so it's been an incredible year for the GGDA and for Georgia. We've had our first Georgia Esports League season. We can talk more about that later because we do have some upcoming plans for that.
Yes.
We had a great run of GGDA meetings. We amazingly showed up on this new thing that kids are doing called live streaming. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I don't know nothing about it either.
Yeah.
But we've been doing that, and so we had a very successful year with that. And now the industry has just exploded. We kicked off the year with some great success with the Georgia legislature. They really listened to us, heard what we needed, and they and the governor implemented what I think is the best tax credit program in the entire world right now, the best incentive program for game developers.
Yes.
The whole idea is to stimulate a game development industry because we know it is a core pillar of a successful tech industry in a state. So we see so many people who want to get into technology primarily for the desire to make games.
Right.
And whether they ever make games or not, they end up doing great things in technology. The classic examples are these two guys, Steve Jobs and Wozniak, somebody you might have heard of, who started as Atari programmers before they went off to Apple. And this has been true constantly throughout the industry. We've seen this here locally. Many of our studios are started by folks who wanted to make games, went into other kinds of technology to make money first, and are now back at their love of games. So the state recognizes that this not only stimulates the tech industry, it also gets more students studying technology at high school and college.
Right.
And you need a robust games industry to have a robust tech industry. Go hand in hand. That's why the biggest tech industries and game industries are in California, they're in Washington, they're in Texas. They're just going right together. So,
and now they're here in Georgia.
And now we are not only one of the largest game development industries in the country. As of 2015, we were ranked number 7th in the U.S. I think we're up to 5 or 6 now. So moving on up here in Georgia. But we're also seeing just this dramatic growth. So we have some figures recently on what happened in 2016. I talked about 2015. We've seen growth in 2015. So it's just been a constant growth pattern. The big numbers everyone likes to talk about are the financials.
Right.
So we see something like 12,000 related jobs in game development. We see almost 300 million in a direct spend, almost about 600 million in economic impact.
That's
from
huge.
The game industry in Georgia.
That's a lot of money.
What I love to see, other than the huge salaries people make in the game industry, are all the studios that have been created. We went in 2005 when we started this state's incentive program. There were 8 studios. Actually, at one point in around 2000, we went down to 2 video game studios in the state, HDI and Heuristic Park. After Turner crashed, its then Interactive Studio and others. By 2005, we made it up to 8 studios. That included High Res, Tripwire, Holistic Design. And we were just trying to push forward. And now, well, let's see, in 2015, we had 113 game studios.
All right.
As of the end of 2016, we had 128.
Really?
So we had another over 10% growth yet again in that one year. And we're seeing this just amazingly rapid growth. Now, some of these are single-person studios, and they do great work. We've got groups like Puzzles by Joe, which is primarily a one guy working on it, though he does work with some very talented folks in other supporting roles. But it's one person owning it, one person doing most of the work, and doing a very successful line. And then you've got companies like High Res Studios, 400 people working there,
right,
doing dramatically successful titles, Smite, Paladins, Global Agenda MMO, and a whole bunch of new games that they introduced at the High Res Expo this year.
Yes.
And this is what we love to see. It is this wide range of ideas, of companies, of styles that are just doing amazing work. And it's a number of different factors leading to it. Very talented people, a lot of drive, a lot of inspiration and support from places like the state incentive program. So it's been a great program. The program, if a company generates $250,000 in Georgia payroll in video games, has to be in video games, they qualify for a similar tax credit to what the movie industry has. We've seen what a huge success that's had on turning Georgia into a film, the center of film really in the United States now. And we're working to do the same for games. And I think it's just been an amazing ride already.
Absolutely. And you've just mentioned the year 2015 and 2016. Obviously, we're in 2018.
What?
Now. Yes,
when did that happen?
Yes, we are.
Oh, no.
So that means, and I know just from personal experience last year watching Siege, seeing the number of people coming out from MomoCon, obviously DragonCon, all the other GGDA events all over the state, that 2017 was huge for us. So let's talk about what's coming up for 2018. What is your vision for the Georgia Game Developers Association for 2018?
The first thing is, I think we should try streaming on 3 networks at once.
Okay.
I don't know if we can pull it off, but we should at least try.
All right, let's see if we can
so we're
try.
doing it tonight. So,
yes.
So what's new for this year? Well, I think that the big thing is going to be not just in keeping this trajectory going,
all right,
but making sure people elsewhere realize it, and really helping a lot of our early studios that are 1 to 10 people knock it up to the next level of success. So already this year we had the Global Game Jam, and we're doing our Best in Georgia competition. We've seen great things come out of the games that have won that in the past, and we're looking forward to it again. We've got 5 locations in Georgia. They were Georgia State University, Kennesaw State, SCAD Atlanta, SCAD Savannah, and Georgia Tech, all taking part in it. We've got some very good game mentors who are going to work with those teams to get their games developed on towards our next meeting on February 13th, when we're going to go ahead and announce which was the best in Georgia. And these little studios become the larger studios.
Right.
We've seen this with Infinite Reflections here in Atlanta. We've seen this with other groups around the state, and very much looking forward to seeing that continuing to grow. We're very fortunate that the legislature and the governor have recognized us in the way they have, and our Department of Economic Development has a strong focus and a strong understanding of what's involved in the game industry and esports and the like. And they are supportive as well. So you're going to start seeing an even greater focus on esports. We already had Dreamhack come here. We already had King's Cup. Obviously, the High Res Expo and the Blue Mammoth Championship. Yes. I think all of these will get bigger and better, and we'll have even more come in and become part of the ecosystem for the game industry here in Georgia. We're seeing more great talent come out of the schools, and it's been very interesting that in Georgia, we've had this great, really high level of talent and this great entry level of talent. We've been having to find those folks who could be in the middle, management and so forth. And that's been one of our key pushes and one of the key areas that a lot of the companies here have had to focus on. We're finally seeing that really take off, where instead of having to hire these people from California or Washington all the time, now they're being promoted locally and moving up the ranks into these roles.
Well, I know for a fact that other people are coming to Georgia from other parts of the country. Because, well, not just because of the jobs, but also because of the lifestyle of Georgia. Everything that you want to do is just a few hours drive, no matter where you want to go. If you want to go to the beach, if you want to go to the mountains, if you want to enjoy music and food and culture, you've obviously got Atlanta. And then, of course, all the great esports that are getting built up here, things to do, and now community, which is what the GGDA is all about.
You've definitely hit it on the head. I mean, the central aspect of the GGDA, we are a trade association. We need to help improve your skills. We need to help improve not only the climate for business, but the image of our business. But really, it's about bringing people together to trade ideas, to work together, to grow that camaraderie, and really create something that they care about.
Well, so far so good, and this year is going to be even better.
And it is definitely off and running. This month already was I expected to be a little more relaxed month because we didn't have any bills going through the legislature. But things have been a madcap already, and we're going to see it continuing to move like that in a good way. We're seeing more companies appear. We're seeing more companies start to do a variety of roles, starting into publishing. We've got groups like EQ Games here in town that are moving towards publishing. We see more game media like Game Skinny, Altered Confusion, and others promoting what they're doing. It's really and more esports groups. I'm getting an email at least a week from a new esports league here or place that is set up for esports facilities. I was amazed that we have an esports gaming facility in North DeKalb Mall now. Oh, so that started up this year.
That is a new location.
Beginning of this year. That's right.
That's exciting.
And we're seeing a few others, and the traditional sports venues want to get into this as well. So we'll see how much they all end up tying into this.
Now, the one at North Lake, is that?
North DeKalb, my bad.
Okay, the one at North DeKalb, is that part of the push that you've been making as far as DeKalb County goes?
They did that all without me. I was glad to connect with them, but they were already off and running before I was around. So I was glad to introduce them to some people.
That is great.
But they've been doing very well on their own, and we've been seeing more and more of these show up.
All right. Well, what's coming up in February and March in terms of the calendar of events right now?
Valentine's Day, so everyone's going to send me cards and can't. No, okay. Yes. So February 13th, we do have a meeting. Unfortunately, the location is not yet announced. We had a couple good ones who had to push back on us, so we're pushed back till later. But we will be announcing the Best in Georgia competition.
Yes.
And we will be starting up the next Georgia Esports League season. So we had a very successful esports event at Siege again. The first Georgia Esports League had this incredible announcer for it. I forget who it was.
Yeah, he was amazing. He had this amazing voice, incredible presence. I love that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an absolute fan.
And that went very well. We had some great final rounds, and we are going to be doing it again this year. So we'll be having a presence at MomoCon over Memorial Day weekend, and it looks like at MomoCon, you're all the first to hear this. We've not announced this yet. We'll be doing the second installment of the Georgia Esports League, the Spring 2018 Championships. Again, with scholarship money. Last year we gave away $11,000 in scholarship money, as well as bragging rights to being the best esports team in Georgia. We'll be, again, doing Brawlhalla, Paladins, and this time it looks like we'll be adding Smite into the mix.
All right.
So it'll be a lot of fun.
I expect people to play as Odin.
Yeah.
As Odin. And unleash Ragnarok.
Excellent. Man, too much power for me.
Well, speaking of power for you, let's talk about your personal projects as well. Because obviously you do a tremendous amount for the GGDA, but you've been a game developer since 1990. So let's talk about leading by example and practicing what you preach. All right. Andrew, you've had many successful games, RPGs. So let's talk about where you are in the development of Fading Suns right now.
So the Fading Suns universe, we started in 1995 at HGI. I started with the role-playing game Fading Suns, and we self-published that, myself and Bill Bridges, who was the original Werewolf developer at White Wolf, were the co-creators of that. A lot of good people worked with us on that. Ken Leitner, Ed Pike, a number of other very good people.
It's still available, by the way. Bundleofholding.com. I do recommend it. It's an incredible wealth of imagination and creativity. Really a great universe that you guys built.
And we're working on a third edition. Bill Bridges is taking the lead on that.
Okay.
So that's going to come out, I believe, later this year, and that's already shaping up to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
We did a PC strategy game, Emperor of the Fading Suns, which was just a blast, live-action game fiction. And now you're right, we are starting to go ahead and do the PC game, Fading Suns No Armada. We've done a miniatures tabletop battle game, move the spaceships around, maneuver for your best shot, blast each other, and great fun maneuvering and combat game. But now we're transitioning that over to the PC and doing some pretty interesting things with it.
I remember last year you actually showcased some of the actual mechanics of the PC game, and you shared it with everybody for the GGDA. So again, a perfect example of leading by example and practicing what you preach and giving insight into what it takes to develop a game. So where are you now with it?
We are actually pretty nearly done with the base game. What we've realized while we've been doing this is that there are so many more things we want to do. Whenever you do a game, you always end up with a million ideas of things you should have done, would have liked to have done, and you end up not having the budget or time to do it. What we do is the game is about done. But in order to do the extra things, we do need a little more funding, so we're looking to do the Kickstarter.
Okay.
Not to fund the basic game. This is why we're actually, I think, kind of unique for game Kickstarters. We're actually looking to fund primarily the mission editor, so all the players can actually devise scenarios for it. Right now, we're shipping with a bunch of different missions that players can do in it, but we want players to be able to create their own, recreate their own stories within the Fading Suns universe or just in other areas altogether.
Yes.
So right now, the mission editor is not a tool anybody who hasn't been banging their head against it constantly can use.
Okay.
And the idea is to turn it into something they can use with programming assistance, with some more art, and some better UI and UX and the like. We also want to take it away from just PC and have it show up on iOS and Android devices, maybe Apple, maybe Xbox. And when I started talking about this to current fans of Fading Suns, the first thing they all asked for was, it's great you've got these 5 noble houses who are battling it out. The Dakados, the Hawkwood, the Hazat, the Al-Malik, the Lihalan, with their own custom ships going head to head. But they want more. They want the Inquisition, which is ships with their flame guns. They want alien ships.
Yeah.
They want all the freakiest stuff that we could have in there. So the idea is, yes, conceivably, we could do that too and have a whole lot of fun with it. So that's the focus of the Kickstarter. It's not a huge money Kickstarter because we don't need to fund development of the game. We need to fund development of all the add-ons people have been asking for.
Very cool. All right.
So we're going to kick that off, we believe, in February, next month.
Yes.
Almost this month.
Just a few days.
Just a few. Well, we're not going to kick the Kickstarter. Still got to go through Kickstarter approval. So after that, we'll get it off and running. We're looking forward to that a great deal.
So that's one of the major events coming up for you then in
February. That's right. Next month is going to be absolutely crazy for me with kickstarting. I love live streaming my own game anyway, even though it's not released. You can't really look for it, but you can see me live stream it because it's become a great way to play test. I wrote an article on that for Gamma Sutra that they featured, and I think other indie devs are going to find this to be a great tool for their play testing. Live stream your game, get other people commenting, other people catch bugs. You have a constant VOD, a constant record of what you're doing. You can see where the bugs happen. It's absolutely a wonderful tool for play testing. So when I kick off the Kickstarter, I'm also going to kick it off with a live stream, much like these, and have fun playing the game at the same time.
Perfect. Okay, so that's a game that's already been established. Let's say somebody has an idea for a new game. What would you recommend for them to experience or to try, or a resource for them to use? Maybe possibly a mentor or a resource of the GGDA.
And the mentorship is something the GGDA has been doing and are doing again with this Best in Georgia competition. Again,
all right.
Georgia now has a ton of professionals. We could all weigh 1 pound and we'd have a ton of professionals now. There's so many people, good people in the game industry, and the majority of them want to share what they have learned and their hard-fought battles along the way. So, in fact, one of our guys has proposed a speech for an event we do in Columbus called SimFest in June or July, where he's going to talk about, in his 30-year career, what would he have done differently? 20-year career, what would he have done differently? So we're very much looking forward to things like that. Our mentors can come share that sort of knowledge. So when people come to our monthly meetings, there is that chance to interact with the pros and ask them what they're doing, how to work with them, and so forth. I know, for instance, Kerchunk Games has a whole board of experienced developers and folks experienced in a lot of different areas to help guide their company through projects like Print Snapped and other fun games. And I think that's a great idea for any indie studio. Find these mentors, board of advisors, whatever, to give some input, lead them along the way. And there are a number of different areas where any small company can trip up that just anyone who's been through it can walk them through. How to do what you need to look for in a partnership, even just having a partnership agreement between everyone involved in it. Spelling out who owns what, who can do what with which, and so forth. Then talking to various lawyers about the basic IP rights. How do you go ahead and really protect your copyright on a game? Having people who can talk you through how you can test your game as you move forward. Generally, the people who are making the games are skilled in one of the major areas of game development: programming, art, design. Right. And they generally have those chops pretty well handled. But then they know nothing about marketing. They know nothing about the business side, etc. Keeping to a production schedule, planning for beyond the date the game actually ships. All of those are key. And all of those are the things that someone who's been through it once can really help with.
All right. Well, as far as an ongoing resource, is there an email list for them to contact? Is it just go through the GGDA and then go through the contact list and then follow up with somebody individually? Or who?
Sign up for that. Any of our monthly events is a great opportunity to come out and get involved. We have chapters in Athens, chapter in Augusta. Mm-hmm. We even have friends in Savannah like Project MQ, who are great resources if you're there. The Columbus chapter has been very active. We'll see more of these chapters pop up. So there are resources all around the state with which you can interact. So, and of course, the best thing is what we talked about before, Siege.
Absolutely.
Because that is really where everyone shows up, and the pros are so willing to talk and share their time. Really, one of the secrets of the success in Georgia isn't just the incentive program. It isn't just the great schools. It is the fact that the people in this community make it what it is. And I'm amazed at how much time the leads that our biggest studios will give to new small studios, trying to guide them past the shoals that could otherwise wreck them. So I've never seen it I've never seen the leadership of the various companies be so actively involved with the grassroots as they are here.
Very nice. Well, speaking of interactive and speaking of community, we're live right now on Discord.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we are. And I know that we have people that are listening and actually watching us. So let's go ahead and take some questions or comments from the community, everybody that's already on Discord. Feel free to text or say something live like Brian Miller. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Now that's a singing voice if I ever heard one.
Hi, Brian.
Hi. Great to hear you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Bob, for doing this tonight.
Absolutely.
It's looking great. Everything's working great so far. I do have one question from Randolph.
All right.
On our Mixer channel.
Okay.
Hi, Randolph.
Will GGDA have a booth at any of the upcoming cons?
There are a lot of conventions in Georgia. We used to have a booth at the Game Developers Conference out in San Francisco. We haven't done that for the past few years. We won't be doing that again this year either, but maybe in the near future. I talked about MomoCon. We'll definitely have a presence there. Mm-hmm. We support other conventions like Terminus. Just a great opportunity to help people learn about the game industry, an audience we don't usually reach. We usually reach folks who are already committed to game development, not the folks who are just thinking about it. So we love to support those. We don't have booths as much as we have a presence where we will help organize panels. We'll just be there talking and helping with just events and meeting people. So, for instance, the weekend after Valentine's Day, February 16th, there's Decepticon here in town. It's a convention all about the deception games like Werewolf and things like that.
Oh, nice.
So just show up there, talk to folks who enjoy playing the games, talk to folks there who want to make their own games. Those are always wonderful opportunities. We had a very small presence at the Atlanta Steampunk Expo at the end of last year as well. We definitely are looking forward to the return of Dreamhack in November. Would love to have a place for that. Last year we helped them organize a lot of their sessions. We'll probably do that again. We've organized sessions at a number of the conventions. I'll be speaking again at Dragon Con, probably. Mm-hmm. I have my guest application for the 26th year, something like that.
Yes, congratulations.
So we'll probably have that. And we're always open to a presence of other conventions. So, for instance, February 8th, we're supporting the Creative Expo at the Fernbank Museum of Natural History.
Yes.
Where they're doing a lot of different things. So we won't as much have a booth again as we're helping bring in speakers, bring in other folks, and we'll be talking to people about what they want to do involving game development. If you have an idea for any other conventions we should be attending, supporting, and so on, please let us know. We just had someone reach out to me about one called Engage ATL about storytelling in media. So we'll see if we get involved with that one.
Not to mention all the monthly and weekly meetings that
That's
we
right.
have and meetups that we have as well. So, next question.
So yeah, there's always plenty going on.
Moving right along, I thought I might need to let you know that Chris Carson is joining with us.
Hey,
Chris.
Chat tonight. So he's definitely looking forward to some of the Noble Armada gameplay here soon. But before we get into that, Eddie Chris from Twitch asked if someone opened an esports arena, would it thrive in Georgia?
We're about to see that because they're definitely doing so. A lot of it really depends on the revenue model, and this is where I wonder what will succeed and what won't. So we have a place called Battle and Brew here in town, which we all love. We'd love to see that succeed. They are primarily a bar/restaurant that has gaming in it. On the other hand, if someone started a good esports arena with regular competitions, people could be paying for time, but you'd also want to be using that arena to create your own teams. Just like in baseball or wherever, you don't just have a stadium and expect teams to show up. It's the Braves stadium. It's the Gwinnett Braves. It's their stadium. You've got a Falcons stadium. And I think that's what we're going to start needing, not just if you make it, they will come, but you want to create a stadium, build those teams, create those core players, create that community through the streams out of that. And that's what's going to make a stadium a success. And one of the things that we're looking to support with the GGDA, and especially with the Georgia Esports League, is the growth of teams here in Georgia. Right now we're helping all the colleges build their teams, and that's been a great success.
Yes,
and I think the next level is going to be these professional teams coming to action, and we help them with social support and places to play and tournaments and so on. So very much looking forward to how that'll come together. And any of these esports league, I mean, they'll automatically succeed if they get Bob in there as an announcer.
Sure. Well, one of many outstanding announcers that were there at Siege, and that's actually something that's being taught and developed, and that's exciting. That's something that we do at Neighborhood Studio. I'll go ahead and throw in a plug for we do. In addition to this, I happen to know that Turner last year they actually had an actual esports series, and it went extremely well.
Amazingly well.
They're going to do it again this year, so I say go for it. So.
And they did Street Fighter and should have
Yes,
had you.
they did. They absolutely did, and I can't imagine why they would not have Balrog on the actual show. What is that about? That's a failure on their part.
Come on, E-League.
All right, so let's talk about opportunities for someone that's new, someone that's excited, someone that wants to participate more with the GGDA. What would you suggest, Andrew, a way for them to volunteer and to put forth their time and their efforts and their energy to help support the GGDA?
This is all about the volunteers. Everybody puts in their time, and we love to have them come out to the meetings, help out with the live streams. Even the person running this live stream's a volunteer.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt.
So there's a ton of work to be done that way. And for folks looking to break into the game industry, earlier Bob mentioned our YouTube channel. We've got a whole playlist of how to break in videos with some of the best minds, the people who do the hiring at the big companies, folks who do it at the small companies, how to break into the game industry. And all the information there is amazing. How to put together a real portfolio that they'll care about, how to actually contact the companies in intelligent ways, and even how to make your own company, which certainly is my preferred route.
Certainly.
So a lot of different ways for you to break in.
One of the things that I absolutely love about the GGDA is the fact that it's all real. You've got game developers who have succeeded. You've got game developers who have not yet succeeded.
That's right.
But they will succeed. But there's a lot to learn and a lot to share. The fact that we have such a great community and that's happening and we are sharing, so that way we can help others. Again, we're all about the team. Together, everyone achieves more. And that's what I feel like the GGDA has really done a great job of becoming. And
I'll agree with that.
I have to say, Andrew, that's thanks in large part due to your personal efforts. So
thank you. And to everybody who comes out and helps with it. And it's interesting because a lot of that does apply to small game dev teams as well. So much of the time is sweat and tears and not money. Brian mentioned Chris Carson is on there as my programmer for the lead programmer for the Noble Armada PC game. And putting in a ton of time, and we have to coordinate, figure out ways to work. And there are always issues involved, but good things come out of it. And I think Chris was heckling me about wanting to see some of Noble Armada. Should we pull it up and actually play some Noble Armada?
Yes.
All right.
That would be great.
What do you think, Chris? Amazingly enough, we happen to have the game. Hold on, let me get the Siege logo in the shot. We happen to have it right here. Why am I not even getting close to the camera? There we go.
Come back to the left.
No, it was the cord wasn't letting me pull over. That was the problem. So let's see here. Can we go ahead and play the game?
Skirmish.
How are we showing the game?
And then have all the bugs.
Everything will crash right now. And just to make sure, I'll go ahead and take all the big powerful ships and have all the big powerful ships fight each other. How's that? So let's see. Do we want to make it really confusing with lots of space debris?
Yeah.
Let's see. Destroy all ships, let's do a sea station because we haven't tested that since the last build. So let's see how badly that messes everything up. All right. Let's go ahead and have a fight and see if we can make this crash while Chris is on the line. Capture the enemy space station. All right. Let's change formations. Let's go like that. That looks like an obnoxious way to go. Oh, wow. Right in the middle of it. Look at all that mess. So now we're seeing the small map, the mini map, before we go into the main map.
Right.
One of the things that I think has been really interesting with this game, Chris Carson's come up with some innovative UI. I wish I could claim credit for all of it, but I can't. He's definitely had some really innovative thoughts on how UI should work. And UI is one of the areas that never gets enough attention until you've done it wrong. Good UI, nobody notices. Bad UI is the first thing everybody notices. But he's given me a lot of different ways to do the same thing. So, for instance, this is in space. You can't just stop on a dime. You don't have brakes. You have to counter thrust to actually change your facing. So this is our thrust tractor. I can set thrust this way. So now I unpause the game and off he goes. It's a real-time strategy game with pausing.
Okay.
So if I want to brake, I can't just hit a brake button. I have to actually turn around and fire my thrusters from reverse.
Okay.
And that's the only way to slow down. You see there's a little bit of drift there. Yes. You don't have to, oh, hey, they're blowing me up. Lovely.
You're under attack.
Your forces are under assault. Wow, there's a lot of them over there.
They're gathered.
And you see a bunch of shields here. My shield's getting knocked down. I wrote about that in my last dev diary. By the way, if you're a developer, keep a development diary. Even if you don't publish it for yourself, it's a very useful tool. And if you do publish it, it gets a lot of good feedback. All right, so I've turned around because they're blasting down my shields. I got side shields here, and somebody's in range. So I'll do a shot on that fellow. So now, this fellow, I want to go ahead and change his direction, get him sliding on down to battle the enemy. So
I bet you want to avoid that asteroid.
Avoid that giant asteroid, and even the little asteroid, which I think I'm about to hit the little asteroid. Wee bonk.
Yep, you did it.
I'm so good at that. What can I say? Even in three-dimensional space, even in the void of space, I can run into debris. There's a lot of debris. I'm sure it's minefield I'm trying to get around. That's what I'll blame it on. So one thing that Chris did that I thought was really cool, I showed you how you can do thrust with the thrust bar.
Yes.
But I can also do it by clicking and dragging on a unit. So this one, which is not doing it right now for some reason, I think maybe I should have actually brought a mouse pad. Who remembers mouse pad? That's better.
Okay.
So now I can... Hey, Chris, what's going on here? Yay!
Yeah, there you go. Select a different ship and see if...
Yeah, so you see now he got all that thrust from there, but it's interesting. It gave up on it early. Interesting.
It might be the asteroid.
We'll blame the asteroid.
Now he just bounced out, so I think you can...
Let's see if he goes out now. Let's see. Yeah, that's doing much better. No, still blanking out when I get to there. All right, Chris. We got testings to do.
Okay.
Could just be this mouse. We'll find out. There's a bug to double check on. So yeah, so I've got him selected, and as I move the cursor along, that changes thrust and the facing of the ship.
Okay.
So a lot of different ways to do things, because in a normal RTS game, I just click a guy and point somewhere for him to go, and he'd go there.
Right.
But this is space, and it's a game of maneuvering, so you can't do that the same way. So let's go ahead and change face. Let's just go ahead and blast him like this. Open up a whole can of blow up on the Ducato. So now I'm right by the enemy space station. Let's see if I can throw my boarders out into space, because there's also a game of boarding and broadside. So my Marines go screaming on over to the enemy ship. Yep, on their space station. You can see it right there. And now it becomes a turn-based game as my Marines try and go charging into the enemy, into the fray with the enemy. And looking to take down as many of the enemy as we possibly can, the Mantis Warriors of the Ducatos, of the evil Ducatos. So they, of course, think they're the good guys. And when I play them, they are the good guys.
And while I was watching, I don't know if I'm the only one who notices it, but I think the chroma key for green, we use green heavily in the game. That would explain why a lot of the graphics are missing in the transmission. So in your imagination, you can fill in the green. That would help, but
it looks great here.
That looks a lot better.
It looks great on my screen, I swear. And I'm getting myself beaten up on by the Ducatos Marines. I'm about to lose this, but
yeah, these guys are tough.
Yep, at least I'm tearing up their ship along the way. And there we go.
Oh no!
But now I throw the rest of my fleet in. Now their space station is depleted. Now I would have the chance to go in and do some real damage to them. As I bounce from asteroid to asteroid. You want to maneuver more carefully than I'm going. Hey, we can do it again.
Yes.
We can board again with a lot of crazy Marines looking to kill the enemy. And their ship is heavily depleted. I was actually thinking I was going to mess up Chris, because that's one of the last bugs he fixed, where the enemy Marines kept replenishing. Whoops.
That would be a problem.
I got the wrong place. There we go. Yep, charging on in. So, Chris, how dare you fix things so I can't embarrass you?
Sorry.
Yeah, and I love doing this kind of mix of different sorts of games where it's real-time strategy mixed with turn-based strategy. There's some games where I'm a big fan of the mini game within a larger game. This isn't that. They are basically each fully as important as the other game. There are different strategies for boarding as there are for as for the space combat. This is the way you can make the most money, or you can purposely lose but really mess up the enemy ship along the way. Send your Marines into it for a suicidal charge. And hey, I might actually take this guy. Let's see here. Nope, I'm gonna lose.
Oh no!
But so close.
Anyway, very close. Okay.
Quick look at the game. We're doing a little less maneuvering because his ships are staying around the
spaceport.
The spaceport. Right. Yeah, the spaceport to defend.
You still have yours in the
I
rear.
Still have the Habsburg way back there. And I could spend my time shooting at the enemy ships, which is not a bad idea. A lot of pew pew pews. Are you hearing any noise? Are you hearing the game? Oh, the game sound effects are not coming through. I did not realize that. I must have game audio off. Oh, that was the best part. Oh well. C'est la vie. Next time. But that's a quick look at the game. A lot of maneuvering, a lot of lining up the best shots, and eventually taking the enemy ship. Oh, they're massively destroying my guns. My guy right here now. Hey, now I'll win. 20-3. Yes. Even I can win that fight. I don't know. Sorry, I have fun playing this game.
Of course.
So I don't want to set it aside.
Oh, go ahead and win.
I should have already.
I want to see you take the space station.
Yeah, actually, since we fixed the last bugs in it, I haven't actually taken a space station. There we go. Station surrendered. Overwhelming odds. We did it. And we didn't get the victory screen. That's what I was afraid of, Chris.
Well, that's because the last time you told me you wanted to also wipe out the enemy ships.
Oh, we did? Oh, great.
Well, because your thought was that I could reboard you and take the station back.
Ah, back and forth. Okay. I got to make that clear in the instructions now. All right. Well, there you have a quick look. What do you think, audience? Should it end as soon as you take the space station, or should you have to wipe out the enemy ships first?
Is there a chance for them to come back and counterstrike and take it back?
Well, theoretically they could, yes. Theoretically they could just reboard the space station and take it back. So now we've got to get the audience decision. Wah. Well, thank you, Chris.
That would be the more interesting way.
That's a more interesting wah.
I say it depends on the AI.
Ron D. Marshall says if the ships have Marines, then it should be back and forth.
You want to go back and forth with the boarding. That'd be vicious.
That would be vicious.
Yep. I don't know. We'll think about maybe making a switch in there so it's first to cap. Maybe we'll do a whole different thing where it's space station and wipe out the ships. The beauty, we can do a variety of different things.
Yeah, you could switch it up where the mission changes so that it's not just capture the flag, so to speak, but then you've got to hold it.
That's right. Chris, I sense a new stretch goal.
Yes.
More scenario types.
So Aaron Doth asks, are there different game modes? And actually, there are two major game modes. Campaigns, which we're now going to call missions.
Okay.
Which are the...
which are a series of those fights. You saw the skirmish. That's an example of one encounter. The missions, you come out in a jump gate into a new solar system. You have to go through the solar system, clear out enemy ships, different encounters. There's different bases on each of the planets you encounter along the way. So you're buying and trading. You're turning in the enemy ships you capture to the prize court to make money so you can re-outfit your ships, replace the Marines and crew that get killed. So the missions are a longer version of those skirmishes. Skirmish after skirmish, like 5 to 7, to complete some mission goal. Recover a lost world, find an ancient relic, track down an enemy noble, all these sorts of things. We replay the classic battles from the Fading Suns universe. But Chris has recently been talking about why don't we have a series of those missions? So you go from jump gate to jump gate to jump gate, which is what people loved in the Fading Suns universe. Come in at the Criticorum jump gate, go to Byzantium Secundus, wherever else, and continue the fight from system to system, and really have a long-lasting play experience. when Chris and I were first talking about this game, we wanted a very short play experience. You saw that game, theoretically, 15 minutes, and you've had a good game.
Right.
And that was with some of the bigger ships. I could just have small ships and be done in a few minutes. But we're realizing, like I like to do, I just want to sit there and keep going. And we don't have the option for that. So one of the things we're looking to add with the Kickstarter is that campaign mode.
Okay.
Whole series of mission after mission after mission to give you several hours of gameplay. I mean, my old games, Merchant Prince 2 or Emperor of the Fading Suns, these were the kind of games you'd start playing when you got home from work and realize when you had to go to work you were still playing it.
Yes. Now, in this game, are
during
you...
during the actual gameplay, too, the actual battles, there are different battle type objectives. There's wipe out all the enemy fleet. There's make it to point A, so basically run a barricade. There's you've seen the seasoned station. We also have
Onslaught.
To say target a specific enemy ship.
That's right.
Yeah, Onslaught. Target a specific ship and board it. So we try to add a little variety to the actual battles themselves.
Nice. Now, I know you've got the actual battles, but given the history and the worlds and the universe that you guys have built, are there ways to get more of that interaction or ways to get more of that history?
That's right.
That you've already established and put that into the games and into the campaigns?
We incorporate that throughout the missions that we already have them in place, where a lot of those are some of the classic encounters of the Fading Suns lore that players are already aware of. The other thing is we get to hide a lot of things in there that players might not notice until they've played them several times. Names, people, locations, incidents, and like, so they realize, oh my goodness, this is what led to that within the books. So that's one of the things I'm always most looking forward to. Players who've been enjoying it in all the different forms. That was actually when we formed the company Holistic Design, we took the name Holistic Design with the sense that we could do a lot of different games to show different viewpoints on the same setting. So the role-playing game is a very individual experience of the Fading Suns universe. Emperor of the Fading Suns is a very broad strategic view where you're one of the most powerful figures, one of the heads of one of the royal houses battling it out.
Right.
This is kind of the intermediate look.
Okay.
Folks who are in a major position of power, they've got their fleet of ships, they're moving around, but they're not the leaders of the entire house. And they start seeing it from an entirely different level than do the characters in the RPG or the lords in the Emperor of the Fading Suns game.
All right, very nice. And again, the Kickstarter for that comes out in just a few weeks.
We'll be seeing that in February, exactly. And the game will come out this summer.
All right, so mid to late February after the...
Maybe even early if we get through the Kickstarter. I was aiming for February 5th. We'll see. Probably no later than the 12th.
All right. Well, we know what to look for. And speaking of looking forward to that, what else can we look forward to?
With the Fading Suns, like I said, there will be a third edition. With the GGDA, we're going to have the new gel season. We're going to be doing more programs to get people into game development. And we're going to have a whole lot more live streaming because, frankly, a lot of our members really appreciate it. So I think next week we've got a pretty cool event that Brian has set up.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right. Brian, what's set up for next week?
Hey, thank you. Wow. Suddenly we got a plug-in.
Of course.
Next week's stream, we are going to have a first look.
First look. I like that.
That's right. So one of our first looks that we've done on GGDA was the Starfighter Inc.
Right.
By Jack Mamias.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great action game they're putting together. Yeah. Another spaceship combat game, but very different feel.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, completely different feel. They spent a lot of effort and money on the actual physics, but we're going to take a look at what their game has been, or how it's been progressing since about a year. And from what I understand, they're planning on releasing this game a little bit later in 2018. But next week, we're going to actually get to play the game and, with Jack.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, so good stuff. Looking forward to it. Be sure to tune in to any of our live channels here, Mixer, YouTube, Twitch.
Yeah, and Starfighter Inc. was another great Georgia game that got kickstarted successfully. So, Jack's a great designer. He's working with some great folks who've been around the industry for a long time. Dave Westman and others. Just a great team on that game.
Well, speaking of designers, speaking of supporters, once again, let's thank our Patreons. Again, thank you. Without your support, the GGDA would not be nearly as forward and progressive as it is. So thank you very much, Stephen Coffey, Burton Posey, Lee Friedman, James Simpson, Trey Carpenter, and Joe Casavall. Again, to become a live Patreon yourself of the GGDA, visit patreon.com/Georgia Game Developers.
Georgia Game Devs.
Georgia Game Devs. I apologize. That was from habit.
And that's our YouTube as well. Our YouTube is youtube.com/Georgia Game Devs. Subscribe to that. Check out all the great information there. And this session, I guess, will finally be up there. If Bob Carter's agent will let us put it up.
Yes, absolutely. It will be up and running. And feel free to check out neighborhoodstudioatlanta.com. Let me go ahead and plug in the Neighborhood Studio. We are very excited to have several projects that we can be a part of. We're producing an audio drama. We're producing a video game ourselves.
Excellent.
So I'm excited because everything that happens here with the GGDA, I am directly benefiting from that. I'm also benefiting from the tax credits that again, you've done a tremendous amount to support and promote. And so that's how the Neighborhood Studio is up and running.
Excellent.
In addition to that, we're training people, we're teaching people. If you want to get into voiceover, by all means, feel free to contact us. Check out neighborhoodstudioatlanta.com. And of course, you can always Google me, Bob Carter. I'm available. 678-561-HUGE, 678-561-4843. That's my number. Feel free to text me anytime. Andrew, thank you very, very much for this State of the Union address for 2018. Exciting things are happening with the Georgia Game Developers Association, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited that you're a part of it, and thank you very, very much for your leadership.
And my fellow nerds, we're going to make this a great success. Thank you, Bob.
My pleasure. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. We've loved it.